You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dad's After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dad's
Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player.
Oh, sorry.
To the honeys getting money, playing niggas like dummies.
For Dads at AFTERBUZZ TV. This is season 1, episode 10. The episode is called Dad Abuse, and there was some abuse this episode. We will talk about it. I am your host, Lauren Leonelli, and here with me we have
Jenifer Golden.
Kevin John.
Yay, holla.
Holla.
So I hope that maybe one episode, one of the sons calls his dad Big Papa.
Ooh.
Maybe they should write it in. Well, you know John, right? So
We all know John.
yeah, let's make that happen.
Did I tell you I met John? I actually met John.
Oh, you did?
Yes, he is very funny, very nice, and I'm not sure.
Where did you run into him at?
I'm not sure out at a social event.
Huh.
I am not sure that he wrote this episode though. I didn't see.
No, he
Wellesley.
we talked about it.
Okay.
Because
Jen
yes.
was on watching this live taping.
This is the episode that I've been talking about that I went to the actual taping of.
So please interject when you can and tell us anything that you saw happening, like the one scene where Seth Green had a couple different lines, that part that I just gave away, but we'll tell you when it happened. I just stole your thunder.
But what John said was that he was working on something else at the time, and he was not the lead on this one, and then he was called in to do rewrites, but like right before he wasn't at the table read, so like then he sort of stepped in and he was very busy when I was there.
I think, yeah. Well, everything happens very fast in the
Yeah.
sitcom world, and I think that, and Vanessa was saying that when we interviewed her, that, you know, all these things are happening within the week span that they do the table read and the rehearsals and the run through and the live tape, like that all happens within a matter of 5 days. So if something goes wrong and they need to rewrite, like it's a scramble.
Right. And so like what I would see them do when I was there was they would do the scene, they'd maybe do it a second time. The writers would all be like taking notes and rewriting and taking notes.
Is this based on the audience's reaction?
Well, so some of it was,
or just however it felt.
It was, I think, a combination of, you know, which jokes hit and which ones didn't. Then they would like come up with things on the spot, and they would, you know, talk to the actors and say, try this. The actors would then improv, and
that must have been fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really fun. Like the scene where Crawford is giving his business card.
Oh yeah.
To Warner for his fake father business or a fake parent business. Each one of those responses I thought were so funny, and it was interesting to see.
From Crawford?
Yeah, for each time, you know, I would guess that the business card said nothing on it, and you know they would sort of just make things up as they went along because they would do a different answer each time.
I love that.
It was really funny. I was wondering which one they would go with, and that one was really funny when I was there.
So I'm sorry, just so I guess the viewers understand, and myself. So if they go while live taping it, if they say a joke and it bombs or doesn't hit, they immediately get rid of it and then substitute it with another joke or something like that on the spot.
Correct.
So when they do something on the spot like that, it's improv, and the producers or directors, they just have a quick writing session of 30 seconds, like say
Literally, while it's happening, they run around with a script and a pencil. And they're writing, like the script fits in their hand. It's like the smaller side scripts. If you've been on a set, you see like a smaller version. They write in, or they'll like make a note, be like, that didn't hit. Or like take 1 or take 2 or take 3, because the thing about the live taping is it's not live, you know, it's really
it's in front of a live studio audience, but it's not live like theater, like you only have one shot to a guy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's not like The Voice is live and you vote at a certain time because it's happening in real time. this is happening in front of a live studio audience, and they can gauge reactions because they're actually there, but they can then edit and be like, okay, take 2 was the best one.
Right. And then obviously in the editing process, like you just said, you know, you never know what it might look like in the editing bay. You know, what ends up on the cutting room floor, we don't know. Don't tangle yourself there.
I
Jen.
know, I got caught and I was worried.
It's all right. These wires and
Tricky.
cords attached to our headsets are very dangerous.
And you know that we are live. So.
That's live, see? That would have been cut right out.
Totes.
That is true.
Marissa should have just cut to a different camera, but she didn't.
She might have. We don't know.
She might have.
Or what if we said?
Okay, so this episode.
Yeah.
We started off, basically, we always talk about this too, Jen, you and I, about, or we did last week when Kevin unfortunately wasn't with us, but we were talking about A storyline and B storyline. And this episode, I guess the A storyline was the dads, you know, and specifically David, but then both of them getting taken away, the dad abuse, which was the title of the episode. And I think that Tonita Castro's character, Edna, was like the B storyline because she was really in this episode a lot. We've been talking about it all season, how we want to see more of her. We got it. I love her and thought she was absolutely hysterical.
I almost want to say that the B storyline was racism.
You always...
Because Veronica also had like that whole
They're always racist, though.
But they called it out this time. And like they went heavy hitting on the immigration and the like
okay, fine.
Real Housewives of Guadalajara. And
fine.
I mean I'll agree with you. Fine. So more specifically, Edna is B, and I do think that there was a prevalent racism going on.
It was, yeah, for sure.
Which I happen to love because it's funny, and I think
you love
stereotypes.
racism?
No. I
I'm
think
kidding.
stereotypes. Well,
no, I get
thank
what
you
you
though
mean.
for clarifying that because
No.
people will be like, "She loves racism."
No, well, that's why we all like this show because we think stuff like that's funny to make jokes about.
And I think as far as racism is concerned, the racism in this particular episode, I think the funniest jokes were the racist ones.
Yeah,
you know,
totally
when Veronica says everything tastes like spicy pets when she's talking about Thai
food,
and then
yeah.
Edna diving and immigrant. The racist jokes to me were the most hilarious.
And it's funny because I think that this is like a common thing that people do believe. Like, it's not racist. Veronica said this. It's not racist if you're making fun of your own race.
Hence Jen the Jew.
Hence
I
Jen
can
the
say
Jew.
it, but if
No.
you're like Jew, I'd be like, ew, what's wrong with you?
Well, if you're saying it
Exactly.
like that,
If
but
I'm
what if
Mel
someone's
Gibson
saying,
saying
you Jew?
I don't know anyone that does that, but I would love to.
That was
I'm
very
just saying
dramatic.
it doesn't
I
have to
I was
be
taken back.
you Jew. It could
Right.
be,
Well, I think
you're a
that's-
Jew. Yay!
I'm like a little leprechaun that you find at the pot of gold.
I would be very happy
Right?
if I found you
You
and
find
put you
me
in my
every
pocket,
day.
and I'd be even more happy if I found out you were a Jew, which I know you are.
Well, you do, but
Happy Hanukkah's coming up.
oh, thank you. I'm like Hanukkah Harry, which I still don't really understand because there is no Harry and there is no.
What's Hanukkah Harry?
I don't know. People say it. It's like their version of Santa.
Santa?
It doesn't make any sense at all. But to speak further
On-
about that,
yeah.
I think that we touched on a point that they comment on, you know, when we've spoken to like Seth Green and
Yeah.
John Viner and Vanessa, that it's not like these are racist comments. It's not negatively speaking about anybody. It's calling out stereotypes and social commentary, people that actually believe these things, which are quite silly, but it's not actually malicious. And I think that's a difference between
not,
racism and like when we were saying just now, like, you Jew, like in that tone versus just like, oh,
Poking fun at the idea that somebody may think this,
right.
instead of just
Really, they're
saying
just
it.
exploiting stereotypes.
Exactly.
I love that
And-
about them.
And if they're not making up these stereotypes.
No.
These
Yeah,
are
this
stereotypes
is
that
what
we've all
society
heard.
reflects.
I've heard that before. It's not racist if you're making fun of your own race. And then it was, the joke was like, you know, punched by Eli's character saying, yeah, you just leave that up to the white people.
right.
Which is funny because he's white.
right.
Yeah,
So-
see, that's another thing. They're fair. They make fun of all races.
Right.
It's not like
They
they
make
just
fun of
make
the
fun
white
of
people, just
Mexicans
like-
or they
Or
make fun of
black people, yeah,
everybody.
they make fun of
So
everybody.
That even shows you it's, you know.
It's just a whole big shebang of making fun of people.
Exactly.
And they even make fun of a lot of the actors on the show based on appearance.
Right.
Which is just like a physicality, not even like a racial thing. But it's like they're kind of just in the realm of making fun.
Right.
And everyone just needs to chill out about it if you still have a problem with it.
Or just don't watch the show.
Or just don't watch Well, you should watch
You could
the
watch
show.
us, but just
Yeah.
don't watch the show.
But so there was a couple like little funny fights this episode where even the episode opened up with like Eli and Veronica fighting like kids, and it was a lot of that. And then Eli and his dad fighting like that, and then Edna came in on it, and then all of the wackiness ensued with Eli and David and Edna fighting over the towels, and Eli's complaining about his dad David eating all the food, and then they fight over the towel to the point where David falls over, hits his head, and they're in the hospital. And they come back from the hospital. They get a knock on the door from the Special Officer Silverton. And this is where Tonita Castro's character came in. She was already very funny throughout up to this point, but this is when she yelled "Immigration!" and ran and dove on the floor.
I mean,
and she was doing all her own
stunts.
You see later in the episode when it ends what she does. I mean, she is just freaking hilarious. And like we
so
think
athletic.
back to episodes past where like Eli jumps on her back and she gives him piggyback rides. Like she does funny stuff. I love her. She's like one of my faves.
She's one of my faves too, not just because of the stereotypes, but I mean, I guess because she highlights such like one of my favorite stereotypes of like housekeepers and like things like that.
But it's also because she's so like she's a knight. Like she cares.
Right.
And you love her because she cares. I know she's kind of snappy and sassy and she's funny in that sense, but it's like when it comes down to it, she really loves Warner and Eli. She really loves them.
Yeah, she makes them food and things like that.
She
and like
kissed Warner
them.
goodnight and sang to him, and she loves. It's cute.
I will say this: when I was at the taping, the immigration line, like it was the first time I'd seen that scene, and it happened, and I was hysterically laughing.
I'm sure.
Because I loved everything about that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that stereotype, the fact that, and then she's like...
They are not the first sitcom or show, for that matter, to, use the stereotype.
No, and then she really drives it home when she's like, I may or may not be legal. And he's like, what are the... Oh, she's like, there's a chance I might not be legal. And he's like, what chance? What percent? And she's like, 100%. But the 100%, she said, like, I go, 100%. It was like...
Yeah. She's super cute.
Yeah.
Love her. So the officers take David and Crawford away because he says they need to be removed to a safe place.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I have no idea where that came from.
Was that you?
I've been working on my cat pin flipping skills.
I thought I did that to you. Just 5 minutes ago.
So now we're even.
Okay,
but that was accidental.
For people who are listening, we just had a little pen top fly at my head. Wow, Kevin.
Is there any way, Marissa, we can rewind that real quick and slow it slow motion?
This is really live. Just to show you guys and to you listeners out there that this is a live show.
Hold on.
I was not even aiming for her.
You guys, I seriously just thought that the set was falling apart.
I thought a moth was in here.
Did you see me look at Marissa? I was like, Marissa, what just... Anyway, the pen top just flew at me. That happened while we were screening the show, which is really funny. So I guess we're even.
I didn't know I can do that.
Jeez, karma just came back at me strong right now.
Man.
I didn't do it on purpose either. Anyway, okay, so...
Neither did I.
So the dads are removed because they need to be taken to a safe place. Is this true, though? Is this real that officer said when an elderly person comes into the hospital or has been treated for something, we automatically have to look into it?
I don't know. I mean, we all had grandparents or have grandparents. I don't remember that ever happening, but I would guess that it probably does, based on maybe the injury.
Well, if you guys are listening and watching and you want to look that up and let us know, you can tweet us or call in, or you can keep the convo going on iTunes and let us know if that is true or not, or if any of you have had any personal experience with it. While you're on iTunes, rate and comment and tell a friend and give us 5 stars.
Holla.
5 stars. And you can also talk about how amazing you think our live action is. And can you please get your thumb away from that pen top?
It's not going to come again. It's on here tight.
Well, you didn't think it was coming the first time.
Well, I'm aiming for Jen this time.
Right, I was going to say, I haven't been hit yet, and I would really like to not. And if it comes from both of you at the same time, because I'm sitting in the middle, I may cry on air.
Okay, so
it's all live.
Back to the show that we watched called Dads, everybody, in case we're digressing a little. 'The, 'Dads' get taken away. And, you know, the dads are removed because they need to be taken to a safe place. Is this true, though? Is this real that the officer said when an elderly person is comes into the hospital or has been treated for something, we automatically have to look into it? Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess because she highlights such like one of my favorite stereotypes of like housekeepers and like things like that. And, you know, all of the wackiness ensued with Eli and his dad fighting like kids, and then Eli and his dad fighting like that, and then Eli and Warner are happy about it. And I'm glad that they were happy about it at first, because it would not, we knew eventually they were going to be like, we have to go get our dads back, obviously. But it wouldn't have made sense for them to just be like, oh no, they took our dads. What are we going to do? Like, because they're always complaining about getting them out. It was so much more realistic to have them be like, yeah, oh my God, that is so great. We'll work it out somehow. I mean, they weren't just like celebrating right away, but they were definitely like, it'll be fine. Like they were I like
glad that they said what they were not going to miss.
Oh, what did they say?
Like Eli said he wasn't going to miss any more stories about Sully Sullenberg faking that or something like that. And then I forget what the one was for Crawford.
I forget too, but that was pretty funny.
Oh, going through the doggy door?
Oh yeah, getting stuck at the doggy door. That was when they got back at work and they were, talking about their dads. And then that's when what is going on over there? Kevin John.
I cannot control myself today. I don't know what's going on.
Marissa
what is
not
in this
looking
water?
very happy right
Calm yourself. God.
Did you spike my water? Is that what it is? Because I'm
Spiked all your waters, apparently.
You did?
super jitter.
Wait, Spike.
I need to be in a straitjacket right now.
Marissa, I'm not acting like my water is spiked, am I?
Maybe.
Oh,
I had caffeine.
Okay. Anyway.
So Jen should be the most hype out of all of us.
That noise you heard was Kevin having a little leg spasm. So back to our dads. They are taken away, but and when we see Eli and Warner at work, they're talking about the fact that now they're a little bit more happy, and they're talking about why they're glad that they're gone. Veronica chimes in and says, "Wait, what? Why aren't you going to get them? And have you guys heard about elderly abuse?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" They look it up online. Plus, they've got Camilla in their ear when they were having the dinner saying, "You guys, how could you not be going out and looking for where your fathers are?" And then she points out, when we lost the cat,
That was
you were
another
really
funny
upset.
scene.
I loved that scene with Seth
Being
Green.
there.
First of all, we know Seth Green. If you follow him on Instagram, I'll look up his
live tweet.
his,
His picture of his cat.
He loves his cat.
There was a picture of his cat in a sink, I believe it was, or something like that.
Yeah,
And
he puts. I'll give you his handle in a second, but so it was funny because we all, obviously, hopefully, you guys saw our interview with Seth Green, our 5,000th episode of AfterBuzz.
And if
TV.
not, go in the archives and check it out.
He talked about his cats and his cat, and what is he, like 53? Here we go. He's I don't
His cat Artemis.
Artemis is his name. Good call. If you want to follow Seth Green on Instagram, it's 53th_6R33N.
Did he ever say what that meant?
I think he might have, and I forgot.
It was a term that was like a techie term that I didn't understand.
53th.
A techie term.
Six
It was
R.
like the way to
33N.
write it, but like in numbers and letters, and
Yeah.
like it's not
It's
an
like an
anagram,
encode
but
or
it's like
something.
But that was one of the funnier scenes to watch live because Seth Green said a different response each time.
Which was to the fact that he was very upset that he said, "Wait a second, the cat got lost? I thought you just said that the cat went to a rich lady's castle," or something like that. And that was the response that and then Camilla tried to comfort him and he said, "Don't touch me." It was just so funny.
Like one of the responses he said was like, "I don't know you anymore."
Oh, yeah.
Or like he like had the funniest comebacks,
I
and
love
each
him.
one was different. So that was
So
one of those
funny. I love that
fun ones to
scene.
watch,
That was
yeah.
one of my favorite scenes of the show.
Yeah,
So
you were laughing a
live,
lot.
that would have been even more hysterical. So after they look up this, elderly abuse at work, they decide they have to go. They have to go get their dad. So they get in the car and they're talking about, it reminded me of when you drink too much and then you wake up the next day and you're like, I am never drinking again for like a day.
An intense hangover.
Because that's what they were doing. They're like, we are going to get our dads and we are going to be the nicest sons ever. We're going to love them. And then they were like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But it's just good that we're talking about this. They get to the house and meanwhile we're seeing little snippets of the dads with Dave Foley and his wife, who they are calling Donnie and Marie. These people are super chipper. They are
They're like two characters from Glee.
Totally.
They're singing.
They're singing. They're calling them hoot. You guys are a hoot. And we only use that term to describe a couple of people. And, they're playing charades. And they said they can put their glasses and cups wherever they want. They can leave coaster rings because it reminds them of everyone that's been there. Apparently, they've fostered a bunch of elderly people. So Eli and Warner break in. They come to try to take their dads back. I thought it was funny how every time Seth Green said, "Let's go," like all weird.
Yeah.
Or
I
whatever
liked
it was.
it too.
It was funny. And the dads didn't want to leave, obviously, because they were having fun. They were being taken care of. They weren't being made to feel like they wanted them out until the roommates enter. And enter two older women who, one of them, who was a little more masculine than the other, said, "You get country club, I get bowling alley." And it was funny when the camera flashed back to them that, you know, Crawford really did look like he maybe could be at a country club, and David really did look like he was at a bowling alley. It was kind of a funny way to describe their like costumes that are always pretty much the same. And was it Crawford that was like accosted by the woman saying, "I need my gardens tended"?
Yes, my garden needs tending.
And that was a hell of a pickup line, Mal, I
Yeah.
say, for a 75-year-old
She was going for
lady,
it.
you
She
know.
was going for it. I believe that I don't know how old she was, but I think Crawford's 68.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
in that
she could have been a
ballpark.
cougar, though. Or what would that be considered?
If you're 68,
Like a
cougar would be
saber-toothed
like,
tiger because they're
Panther.
extinct.
A panther.
A panther?
Even
panther?
older than a cougar is a panther.
Panther. There are three levels. There's pumas.
Puma, cougar,
Cougar,
and panther.
panthers.
But
So
she
panther-
Wait,
Panther's the
who's a
oldest.
puma?
Puma's like a young.
Pumas are the cougars are 40s, and then
Pumas are like
pumas are the 30s.
30s.
So like when I'm 30, if I were to date a younger guy, I'm
You'd be
a puma.
Yeah.
So
Well,
how
I
many years
sometimes
younger
not.
do they have to be for you to be a puma?
Just in the 20s. I mean, it just has to be significant.
If you
enough.
guys know, please tweet that in as well. We're trying to determine the
I don't
definitions.
think that there's an actual. I think I looked this up, and I
Did
don't think
you?
that there's an actual age difference. Yeah, because I was trying to figure out.
Because you were
what,
dating someone 10 years
no,
younger
I
than
was
you.
not. But I think it has to be a significant number. There's not like an actual age difference subtraction, but like just a significant enough number. It's not like if you're 31 and he's 29, you're a
Yeah,
Puma
that's practically
and
the
he's
same thing.
Whatever.
Okay.
So practically, in guy years though, it's just different. Because you're always way younger than you really are.
Well, 'cause we
anyway,
mature
that's
10
neither
times
here-
faster
yeah,
than women.
No, not true.
Can't you see from dads?
So the dads get back in the car. They're super excited to be gone from there. They're safe. They've been saved, and
Especially because Crawford hit the woman.
hit the woman, and they keep going. Let's go, go, go! And he's like, "We've been driving for a half hour. You don't have to say that." And then it ends with, they're back at work. They're glad their dads are back. They're, not complaining about the things they normally complain about. They're actually happy that, David's stuffing the bread down the toilet and, whatever. And Crawford's robe is opening up to the neighbors in the morning when he gets the paper. And Edna and David come storming in fighting. And she wants to be able to watch Real Housewives of Guadalajara.
Amazing.
Racist joke number 75 of the episode.
So good.
And David wants to watch Homeland. Love that he loves Homeland. Holla, you can see me at AfterBuzz TV on Sunday nights wrapping up Homeland. Great show. And I
Nice plug.
like David. I like David now that his character likes Homeland.
Not I.
And Edna was like, oh, I'm so crazy, boom. Like, all she talks about is that she's crazy and things are exploding, which is
Right.
really funny. And they say, hey, we've got DVR, you can, just deal with it. And then enters, Edna sees the officer that has come in to you need to be careful with that mother effing, give me the pen. Give me the,
You don't trust me?
Give me the
Really?
pen.
Lauren, you're going to snatch my pen? On live television?
Yes.
Wait,
And
who was that police officer?
the police officer was hot, and I loved that Veronica was like, why didn't you say you were hot?
Yeah,
And then
'cause
she
you
was
wouldn't
like,
pay attention to him.
Yeah.
But
until
he's a
he-
firefighter.
he was
Wait,
hot.
what was he doing there?
I don't know, but he was
He was there to
checking
fix the fire extinguisher.
the fire extinguisher. He
was
was
so
checking
random.
them all. Well, they
See,
do-
that's what
they do
happened. The
checks.
ladies see how hot he is and forget what his purpose is in the
Totally
scene.
forgot.
All right?
Anyway, he enters back through the scene where Edna sees him, and she's like, immigration, and runs and does her own stunt. She jumps on top of a desk, slides across it, and then hurls herself over, lands on the floor, and runs into the elevator.
Now,
I
Jen,
mean,
when you were there live, did
stop
she
it.
do that all on the first take, or did she have
Was
to do
that-
that
yeah.
multiple times?
I gotta say that might have been one of the times I was like getting wine from like the back room.
Oh, when you were chilling.
Well, you
Yeah.
missed a good.
So- yeah.
I feel
I
like
did run into her though in the room where they had like the fancy food and wine, and I just looked at her and I think I was like most starstruck by her.
I love her.
I felt myself.
She's very
geek out.
nice. I've met her. She's very sweet.
We didn't talk, but I heard her speak, and she has that exact accent.
Oh, she sounds
in
like
real
that,
life.
yeah.
And I was just like, I probably looked at her like a super creeper, but I was
Well,
excited.
she's
to see
great. Well, we're going to talk about her in news and gossip, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, I thought this episode was funny. I'm glad we got to see a lot of her.
Yeah.
And the fight scenes were super funny. And one of my favorite scenes was Seth Green getting upset about the cat. And Dave Foley, News
Hello.
Radio.
Hello.
Nice little
Holla.
guest star there.
And while I was there, as I had mentioned, Macaulay Culkin was also there, just hanging out, watching because he's awesome and can do that.
Well,
Like
him and Seth,
Green
they're
said.
friends,
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
I think all the Seths are friends.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane and yeah.
Yeah, I think they're all. So he was there, and it was. I looked over, and I was just like, "Oh my God, look, Christmas is here."
So they're gonna have.
My childhood is standing
Yeah.
by the wall over there.
You know what? They should have Macaulay Culkin guest star and be Veronica's love interest in there.
Ooh, and make Eli jealous.
Yes. Ooh.
Predictions. We
Is
are
that a
jumping
prediction
all over
right
the
there?
place.
Did I
Well,
just-
That's a request, I think.
it could be a request.
Yeah. John,
John,
make that happen.
Make it happen, John. Okay, let's move into some news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, if you guys go onto Fox News Latino, you can see a fun article about Tonita Castro, our lovely Edna, who was amazing this episode. The article is titled "Tonita Castro Shines on Dads," playing the cheerful housekeeper. Tonita says when she was preparing for this role, she did not have to reach very far because when she moved from Mexico, her father had passed away, so her family and her remaining family and her moved, and she had several jobs, one of them being a housekeeper. So she didn't have to dig very far for inspiration. And that was in the 70s when she moved to America. She had a job in radio for a really long time and didn't even get her first acting job until 2005. So she's been hitting it hard. Tonita says she loves the writers. She's learning so much from all the actors, all the seasoned actors that she's with. And she is especially fond of Seth Green, who she's been following for years. And she says, I quote, "I love him. It's a dream come true. It's like a great family. I feel very fortunate to be part of it." And I love that we know that she loves Seth Green so much because they're in like every scene together. And
Yeah.
there's like a tenderness
Chemistry?
between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a chemistry that you really do feel. So I thought that was cute. If you guys want to read more about it, you can go on foxnewslatino.com.
I will say this: your housekeeper, if you had one that like has this kind of relationship with you, is like your other parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like a grandparent. They're like the one that spoils you when like the other person's not the other parent isn't looking or like cooks for you.
You had a relationship like that with someone in your house as well, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Oh my God, I was devastated like when I moved to LA and like
Yeah.
wasn't with her anymore.
So it's not. It's a real representation.
I never had a housekeeper, but now I kind of want to get one,
You should
seeing
get
how
one.
awesome they are. I mean,
mean,
I'm
they
not-
aren't all the same.
And maybe she
but-
could be a cougar.
that's very true.
Mine
or
was
a
in my family for
panther.
18 years though. So
But am I young enough to actually have a cougar, or am I too old to have a cougar?
No, you're not. She just has to be older than you. So she'd be like a panther, probably.
I'm not that
What?
old. I'm
well,
not that
then
old.
she'd be a cougar.
I think math is not happening here.
You know what? Whatever. Okay,
Well,
let's
if you love to clean studio apartments, then holler
Call
at me.
Kevin.
Right?
It's an
all
easy
right.
job probably.
Let's predict. Predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Well, Kevin, do you want to kind of?
I don't know.
Say,
Should I go with that one, or should
mean,
I
you can-
predict something else?
well, I mean, you kind of predicted that you thought Veronica was going to be having a love interest. I piggybacked on that and said that Eli's going to get jealous.
I agree. So she will have a love interest. Who that love interest is,
But
Macaulay Culkin or whoever.
Should be like a name actor. It would be funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that would make Seth that much more jealous.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
I think that would be a banging idea. Banging. That's my prediction.
Okay.
I predict that they're going to create a new video game of some kind because from the first episode until now, they haven't
They haven't done
actually
that.
talked about any of their work that they do. So I think that it's going to come back around and they're going to have like some serious business to do.
I like that.
Yeah.
Pay more attention to the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, listening, and watching our after show for Dads on Fox. I am your host, Lauren Leonelli. You can find me at Lauren Leonelli on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Vine, and my website,
I'm Jenifer Golden. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Jen the Jew, on Facebook as Jenifer Golden, and on my website, jennifergolden.com.
Kevin John, you can find me on Twitter at HeyKevinJohn, on my website, www.itskevinjohn.com, and Facebook, Kevin John Peters.
All right, guys. Thanks again. We will see you next week. And here, you can have your pen back, Kevin.
Thank you. Can I flip the top off now?
No, you can't.
No.
You sure?
See you next week.
Peace out.
Bye.
Oh,
From
we got
executive
Jen.
producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
You just wanna see
Buzz
me-
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.